Hi everyone, welcome to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. I'm Raven and this is Rowley. We're almost finished converting this cargo trailer into a tiny home. For the past 5 years we've lived in an RV full-time of one kind or another. Last week I talked about my first week boondocking full-time in my 6x12 converted cargo trailer. This week I'll talk about batteries and solar panel, because last week I ran out of electricity and so my video was late and that drove me crazy, If you're curious, please join us on the journey and continue to watch. Last week I ran out of electricity to finish the video upload. I had to finish the upload on Saturday after I recharged the batteries and the solar chargers. Fortunately, the computer shut down and kept the connection, or reestablished the connection to YouTube when I turned it back on, because it was already uploaded by 59%. So it just continued, which was a sweet thing. I have one 100 amp hour SLA AGM battery, one Jackery 240 watt solar charger, one King 540 watt solar charger, and I have two 100 watt solar panels and one 60 watt solar panel. I decided I needed more battery power to run the refrigerator and the swamp cooler. I'll get around to reviewing all of this stuff really soon, okay? I know I keep saying that, but soon. So I talked to the solar guru, guy lives over that way, and we both said I thought that I really needed more batteries because I only had one 100 amp hour battery, and the refrigerator takes 40 watts per hour, and it's gone before the day is out. Okay, so anyway, so we talked about that I needed more batteries. Okay, so here's the magical part. This is you won't believe this stuff. They don't make this stuff up in movies, Here's the magical part. There's a place in town that sells refurbished batteries. I didn't know that, but he did. It was Saturday when we talked, Saturday afternoon. My local solar guru offered to go and buy the battery for me, in case, the sexist thing. And he offered a used battery to offer them in trade because I didn't have a battery to trade in. And if you don't have a battery to trade in, then they'll charge you $25, $35, $40, whatever it is, to offset that. My money wasn't coming until Monday or Tuesday, okay? It actually came in that day on Saturday, but I didn't discover it until about 12:30 in the afternoon. And the store closed at 12 at noon for the weekend. So there was no way in hell I could have gone and gotten a refurbished battery. And at the price he was talking, I probably could have got 2 or 3 of them, So anyway, Sunday, 2 friends came over for a visit, right? And while here, they asked me if I could use a 100 amp hour battle-born lithium 𝗏𝗃 P04 battery and a Victron 100/20 smart solar controller. I almost fell off the chair, My mouth was hanging open. I said, of course I want it. Are you kidding me? Of course I'll take it. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so here we were Saturday, talking about, I need more batteries. And Sunday, the battery shows up, okay? So I received the battery on Monday, actually, And she gave me a used battery for a trade for another battery if I wanted to go and buy another battery. An old battery she had laying around that wasn't any good. I was shocked. Okay. She didn't know about the solar guru, and I never said anything about my plans to go and buy a battery. It just didn't. It never came up in the conversation. Anyway, I found the Victron Smart Solar Controller Manual online. 69 pages of PDF. 69 pages. I don't think I've ever seen an instruction manual that big, other than when I first got my computer back in the 70s, 80s, I don't remember. I ordered battery connectors to connect up to 4 batteries, because I figured, I would take that used battery and go get a third battery at least, Anyway, Tuesday I received the connectors. I spent the day reading the manual and trying to understand what I was reading, in between looking up words and looking at Will Prowess. And if you're into solar, look up Will Prowess on YouTube, and trying to understand what the heck I was reading, right? So now I got the batteries, and I'll go and get 1 or 2 more refurbished 100 amp hour SLA AGM batteries to round out my system, okay? But on Wednesday, I discovered that none of the solar panels connectors work with each other. Now, all of these have different kinds of connectors. This one, let me see if I can find it. Has the traditional MP4s or M4s or whatever the heck they are. And this is what I need to hook to the Battleborn, but this is only 60 watts. This one is these little plug and play kind of thing to connect. And the other end goes to the charge controller. This one has this kind of connector. I wanted to hook the 2 100-watt solar panels together, but that wasn't going to happen with the connections I had. But there were enough adapters between, which was kind of funny, because each one of the battery companies sent different kinds of adapters, So there was enough adapters between the 3 different kinds of solar panels to make one 100-watt solar panel that will connect to the Victron solar controller. It took me all day, all of Tuesday to figure it out. Actually, that was Wednesday, right? It was Tuesday to figure that out, and how to ground the system. How was I going to wire things inside? Where to put the batteries to keep them safe? How to run the wires through the wall? Where to screw the controller so that it gets enough air, doesn't start a fire, has the fuse accessible, is within reach of all of the connecting wires. It was crazy. Thursday morning, yesterday, I did the installation. It was 99 degrees outside when I finally figured out everything I needed to do. I started, which the notes that I have here doesn't tell the rest of the story. I mean, it was amazing, a miracle that this battery and controller showed up. It's just amazing. The full story is that, yes, I hooked everything up. And then I realized, oh, okay, I didn't turn anything on. I just hooked everything up. So then I said, oh, yes, you have to download the Victron app in order to connect the solar controller to the batteries, and so it finds out what's there and calibrates itself. Well, it wouldn't accept the pin. So I called the woman who gave it to me to ask the woman who gave it to her what the PIN number was. I used all of the different suggestions that Victron manual and troubleshooting guide said to do and all of that kind of stuff. So she messaged me back the PIN numbers and everything. They didn't work. Actually, ultimately, nothing worked with that controller, except that it did allow me to hook the solar panel to it and charge the battery, but anything that came off of the DC load did not work. And then I realized that on the Bluetooth app, it said that it was set for 48 watts. Well, everything I've got is 12, or it can use 24, but it's 12 watts. So I needed to actually get into that piece of software in order to change that 48 watts to 12. So it would take in the battery, it would take in the solar and store it in the battery, but it couldn't run anything. It couldn't run anything. So we went on to this for hours and hours and hours, back and forth, trying to figure out what could be. And ultimately they said that she needed to eliminate the connection on her phone, and then, because you can only have the app working with one controller at a time on any phone or tablet or computer. It had to be totally wiped off of her system in order for me to be able to use it on mine. Ultimately, that didn't work either. So right now, the next morning, Friday morning, I know I was supposed to make the video yesterday, but I was embroiled in that mess. Anyway, this morning, so I left part of the system hooked up so that the solar panel will charge the battery. And I also rehooked up the system that I had taken down, and it charges the battery also. And it's a solar controller that will work with lithium and will work with AGM batteries, sealed lead acid AGM batteries at the same time. So that is running everything finally, but it only allows 10 amps, so I'm still very much restricted. So my daughter called me last night, thank you, and said, why don't we just get you a decent controller? So I ordered a solar controller for 40 amps, and that way I can expand my system and put more batteries on and all that kind of good stuff, and more, better, bigger solar panels later down the line, all of that stuff. So that's how we are today. Oh, the controller comes in tomorrow, thank goodness, because Monday is a holiday. You know, I'd be totally out. Well, not totally out. I'd be manipulating stuff. Like I'm charging the solar chargers, the King and the 𝗥𝘃𝗲, and you know, just shifting stuff around so that I can get stuff done at this point. But at this point, I could do that. I wouldn't want to keep doing that indefinitely, but if I had to, hey, you know. But fortunately I don't. As soon as the solar controller gets here, I can round out the system and get it all hooked up and breathe. And then get on to other things, like sitting out in the sunlight, you know. See my view. This is for my morning tea. This is what I see when I drink my morning tea. So, the Rowley Report. Last night we were sitting outside. Figured it had gone down from 99 to about 95, 92. let's say 90. And there was a very strong breeze out there, really nice. So even though it was blowing hot air, every now and then you'd get this shot of cold air. So it must be, I'm thinking, the air circulating from the upper atmosphere, bringing it down to the lower atmosphere is ice cold, you know, because that's what it felt like. Occasionally an ice cold breeze would just shoot across, you know. Anyway, it was very pleasant. It was very nice out there. And so we were watching the sun go down and just hanging out.
It's gorgeous. Beautiful. Even if the colors aren't the same. It's amazing the difference between the camera and the real thing. I mean, not that what's showing up in the camera isn't beautiful, but it's not what's out here.
And then Rowley started to growl, this really low, deep growl, you know. And he didn't go from my side. He just kind of stayed there and was growling. Normally he'd go investigate, you know, and I have to call him back and, you know, go through the trauma of hope it's not something trying to eat him, you know. This time he remained with me, and he got up and came and stood in front of me. You know, he was laying at first by my side and he was growling, and then he got up and stood in front of me and he's growling. A real low growl. I thought, okay, there's something out here. I couldn't see it. And so I said, okay, let's go inside. You know, stood up and went to go inside. And that's when I heard the coyotes. Rowley is a really good dog. He really is a good dog.
Yeah. That's my ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
So, thanks for watching, and thanks for your support. See you next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Take care of you and yours, and blessed be.